The set with a wonky release schedule and less than 100 cards, Phantasmal Flames will fully launch on November 13th in Pokemon TCG Live. Thanks to Pokebeach compiling all the cards officially revealed by the Pokemon Company and Pokemon Proxies translating everything, we now know all 94 cards in the main set. Ultimately, there's nothing surprising here. Phantasmal Flames is fairly disappointing overall, only featuring a footful of actually impactful cards. There's 6 total Mega Pokemon EX, including Heracross, Charizard X, Sharknado, and Lopunny. Gengar and Diancie are also included in the set, though as I've mentioned far too often, you will be able to beat someone off in a Target parking lot starting on October 23rd to try and acquire each's Mega Battle Deck for $15 US. Additionally, we have 4 regular EXs, which are Empoleon, Rotom, Oricorio, and Mismagius. The only one of these with a chance to impact the meta is Oricorio, and even then, Charizard EX decks are just chucking in a single copy of Oricorio to help power up Megazard, which is a card that probably won't see widespread solo play until post-rotation in March. While perusing the full set list, you may notice some cards weren't translated by Pokemon Proxies. Don't worry, you're not missing out on anything. In fact, if I had to do a top 15 list, well, there aren't 15 good new cards. Thankfully, while the Pokemon may be disappointing, we do have several useful trainers, including Battle Coliseum, Dawn, Blowtorch, and Wondrous Patch. I'll talk about these more in depth soon when I dive into the top 10 best cards in Phantasmal Flames. What I won't be talking about are things like Vertigo Valley and Sacred Charm because they kinda suck. If you're planning on attending a pre-release beginning on November 1st, the 4 promos will be Ceruledge, Zacian, Flygon, and Toxtricity. Zacian seems like the best since pre-releases start at 4 prizes. Let them knock somebody out, now it's dealing 140 damage every turn for just 2 energy. Flygon, meanwhile, is going to be annoying if they set it up. The thing that somehow still doesn't have a Mega discards 2 cards from their deck upon evolution plus 2 more when it's knocked out. Considering that pre-release decks have just 40 cards in them, decking out is a real concern. Add in a good attack and you should target every Trapinch you see. As for what's not in Phantasmal Flames, Cottonee and Whimsicott as well as Sneasel and Weavile have been cut and will only be available physically as blister pack promos. On TCG Live, you'll have to spend 400 credits to craft them. Luckily, neither come close to the level of desirability I have on a dating website filled with recent divorcees. Also, while the Weavile has some playability, neither matter nearly as much as Psyduck, so you don't have to set aside $40 to get these. Additionally, there's some Japanese gym promos still to come that might be saved for our likely January set featuring Mega Dragonite EX. These include Team Rocket's Kangaskhan EX, Team Rocket's Sleep Helmet, a random Lapras EX, and Hopspin Searchin EX. Okay, my number 1 pick for the best new card in Phantasmal Flames shouldn't come as a shock like when you accidentally step on a Pikachu's tail. I know I've tempered expectations when it comes to Battle Coliseum, which might be called Combat Cage in English, but the fact that it can shut down some of the most oppressive strategies in Standard earns it top honors. So long as the Coliseum is in play, damage counters can't be placed on bench Pokemon by attacks or effective abilities from your opponent's Pokemon. Basically, Dragapult's Phantom Dive does nothing to your bench, Dusclops and Dusknoir can't blast your bench, Munkidori can't spread damage to your bench, and I believe Frostlass is prevented from harming your benched ability Pokemon as well. Unfortunately, the issues with Battle Coliseum are obvious. They can just bump it with their own stadium. They do that, your bench is fair game again. Also, it only protects your bench, not your active. So Dusclops, Dusknoir, and Munkidori can still do their thing to who's ever up front. Thirdly, there's another card in the top 10 that simply discards the Coliseum. Despite these potential pitfalls, its mere existence in Standard forces some of those top tier decks to rethink how they build their lists. And if they can't find a counter to your Coliseum at the right time, it might cost them the game. Does Moltres fully deserve the second spot? Debate in the comments so I get more engagement. What can't be argued is that it's by far the most used new Pokemon from Phantasmal Flames in Japan. Put Moltres in any deck running Fire Energy, Prism Energy, or Luminous Energy like Charizard, Ceruledge, Dragapult, Golden or Typhlosion, and you can deal 110 damage to EXs for a single energy. That's one-shotting a Teal-Masked Ogerpon through weakness. And Badoo also gets caught in the crossfire as Fighting Wangs does 20 damage to non-EXs. As for Golden Go, attach a Brave Bangle, now Cheese String Man gets melted. In other matchups, it's a great way to soften up bigger targets while only giving up 1 prize in return. Dragapult especially likes Moltres because along with Dusknoir you can spread a ton of damage early, then clean things up later with Phantom Dive. Listen, I know the first 2 picks on this list aren't flashy, but that's a good thing because the last time I flashed Strangers, I got in trouble. Slightly Ceruledging out Battle Coliseum as the most played new trainer from Phantasmal Flames in Japan, we have Dawn at number 3. Again, there's nothing terribly exciting about this card. It just makes Stage 2 decks much more consistent. And yes, that means Dragapult is getting multiple buffs with this set. Play Dawn, go grab any basic Stage 1 and Stage 2 from your deck. For Dragapult specifically, which has 2 Stage 2 lines, this is perfect. Regardless of which turn it is, Dawn will always have a use, because Badoo buys you time, Dratloat draws you cards, and Dragapult and Dusknoir get you prizes. It doesn't stop there. Pretty much any Stage 2 deck you can think of can find a use for Dawn, be it Charizard, Alakazam, Grimmsnarl, Baxcalibur, Blaziken, or Hydreigon. I've even seen Japanese lists run Dawn and Slowking for both setting up and to find its attackers, which you then put on top of the deck with Academy at night. You'll hear me say this multiple times over the next few videos, but Dawn essentially makes Jacq and Brock obsolete. Considering how often those two were played up until now to help with consistency, I have to put Dawn in the top 3. To prove just how boring Phantasmal Flames is shaping up to be overall, we have Mega Diancie EX as the 4th best new card. Except you can't build a deck around this, and you'll only ever need 1 copy in your collection. While it can be placed in a Terra Box deck alongside Wondrous Patch, 99% of players in Japan have thrown Diancie into Gardevoir EX and reaped the benefits. A 270 hit point 3-prizer, Diancie's ability reduces the damage it takes by 30. Give it a Bravery Charm, the damn thing effectively has 350 hit points. And for just 2 energy, it does 240 damage. You do discard both energy in the process, but Gardevoir can power it up again, with Monkey Dory doing its annoying healing thing and making you somehow hate Gardevoir even more than you thought possible. So yes, Phantasmal Flames is yet another set that increases Gardevoir's power level. And I can hear your groans through the screen. Previously known as Heat Burner, Blowtorch is my 5th choice for multiple reasons. Discard a fire energy from hand and you can get rid of any special energy or tool attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon, or discard any stadium in play. It's almost like a Tool Scrapper, Enhanced Hammer, and Chien-Pao all rolled into one. Pretty much any deck running basic fire energy will add a single copy. That includes Dragapult, Ceruledge, Charizard, Gholdengo, and Typhlosion. Basically, if it has a use for Moltres, it has a use for Blowtorch, which probably isn't something they should be advertising in a children's card game. As for what Blowtorch can blow, Battle Coliseum's going to be a big one, especially for Dragapult. But it can also be used in the Ceruledge mirror to get rid of Legacy energy. Or you can bin a Bravery Charm or Hero's Cape on someone like an overly damaged Drifloon. Or if someone gets cute and plops a Neutralization Zone, you can laugh in their face as you send it to the Shadow Realm. Since Blowtorch is one of the reasons why Battle Coliseum isn't the greatest card ever printed, I of course had to include it in the top half of the list. As someone who stares at unsuspecting Japanese players for hours each day, hoping to see them leak their special sauce, I'll admit that Mega Lopunny EX has dropped since that initial surge. The bunny was literally dominating tournaments everywhere in that first week. Now the wins are shriveling up like a cherubi in the hot sun. Still, because I don't want this video to get any dislikes and I know how many members of my audience will spend a month's rent to own this ultra rare, I'll put it at number 6. For a single colorless energy, Mega Lopunny does 230 damage if it moves from the bench to the active spot during your turn. So you can put it in any deck that has energy like Gholdengo or Charizard or Zoroark or anything else. Now you have somebody who KOs 2 prizers like Fezandipity and Latios without using up too many resources. Just retreat somebody with an air balloon, do 230, and presumably survive thanks to the 330 hit points. Additionally, Spike Hopper goes through effects like Mimikyu's and Crustal's abilities, giving EX decks a way of dealing with these wall Pokemon. Or for a deck with a lot of abilities, Lopunny's first attack allows you to KO a pesky Cornerstone Masked Ogerpon. Lopunny isn't just relegated to backup duty either. Heh, duty. You can play it in a deck with Dusknoir or Pecharunt, run 4 Jet Energy, and take a lot of prizes without a lot of work. Despite the early success Lopunny saw in Japan, though, it is a 3-prizer weak to fighting. Lucario loves to see this, and Lucario just so happens to be one of the free decks on TCG Live until November 12th. So even though Lopunny's better than I originally thought, play it on PTCGL at your own peril. Maybe I'm biased because I see a bit of myself in Toxtricity. After all, we both play with ourselves in front of people. Because Toxtricity strums its chest giblets like they're a guitar. Anyway, Toxtricity is yet another way to accelerate energy into play. This time, its ability allows you to take a basic Darkness energy from deck and attach it to one of your bench Darkness Pokemon at the cost of putting 2 damage counters on it. While you can't accelerate from Toxtricity to Monkey Dory, you can still manually attach to the monkey and heal whoever does get the energy. There's plenty of great partners for Toxtricity, including Seviper, Mega Gengar, and Roaring Moon EX, but the most popular one in Japan so far is Mega Sharpedo. The Daddy Shark does 270 damage if it's damaged, which Toxtricity does, and they're both stage 1s. Toxtricity is simply one of those cards that could potentially be insane as time goes on. I mean, if you can't cook something up with Mega Absol, can you really call yourself a chef? More Dark-type Mega Evolutions will come out next year, and you can bet Toxtricity will be a great partner for them. If Wondrous Patch was releasing in 5 months, it'd probably be much higher up on the list. Because Gardevoir and Xatu still exist in Standard, its usefulness right now is minimized like Koga's Muck. Similar to Dark Patch, Aqua Patch, and Metal Saucer from years past, Wondrous Patch allows you to accelerate a Psychic Energy from the discard pile to one of your bench Psychic Pokemon. On day 1, the biggest beneficiary is Alakazam. This allows you to attach Enriching Energy to the Dunsparce, saving the patch for Mr. Spoony. It's also a consideration for something like Slowking and Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX. Looking ahead to post-rotation in March when Xatu and Guardy are gone, Wondrous Patch will help keep Psychic decks alive. Lily's Clefairy EX will still be a great attacker either by itself or in a Terra Box deck. Mega Gardevoir, meanwhile, can essentially use it to add 200 damage, and Monkey Dory can use it to continue to be annoying. Basically, while Wondrous Patch won't reach peak playability for 5 or 6 months, patch cards always have a place in the format. This one just needs to Ceruledge for a bit before satisfying you. For my penultimate pick, it goes to the card that will ensure one sealed Phantasmal Flames booster box covers your kid's college tuition in 20 years. I'm of course talking about Mega Charizard X EX. Just like Wondrous Patch, this guy won't have its potential unlocked until next year. The reasons are Raging Bolt and Golden Go. Both of these guys take big one-hit KOs for little energy, giving up 2 prizes in the process. Mega Charizard takes big one-hit KOs for little energy, giving up 3 prizes in the process. But Golden Go rotates early next year and Raging Bolt loses Sawda's Vitality. So there will be an opening for everyone's favorite Flying Lizard to be our new heavy hitter. And even when Earthen Vessel rotates alongside the rest of the G-Block cards, we'll still have Oricorio EX and Fire Breather to get energy in hand and then accelerate it. From there, for 2 fire, Mega Charizard does 90 damage times the number of fire energy you discard from your Pokemon. Get rid of just 4, that's 360 damage, KOing most things in Standard. Add a 5th, nobody's safe. And with Water type sucking huge Butterfree right now, its weakness shouldn't be a problem. Until next year though, a single copy of Mega Charizard in your Charizard EX deck is all you need. The regular EX accelerates energy into play, the Mega uses it to deal massive damage. So along with Dawn, Blowtorch, and Moltres, Charizard EX is getting even better in the 5 months before rotation. For my 10th and final pick, despite disappointing early results in Japan, I have to put Mega Gengar EX here. It was either that or Mega Sharpedo EX, which has seen more success, but Gengar's ability is too good to ignore. If one of your Darkness Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an EX's attack, your opponent takes 1 fewer prize card. Use Mist Energy to protect against effects of attacks. Now Gengar gives up 2 prizes when KO'd by an EX, and someone like Roy Moon EX gives up 1. Mega Gengar also activates the Viper's ability, allowing it to deal 240 damage for 3 energy. Exploit Toxtricity's ability like it's a talented child actor. Now all of your attackers get energy while simultaneously giving up 1 less prize. This helps immensely against decks like Golden Go and Ceruledge and Charizard and Raging Bolt and Lucario and, well, maybe not Dragapult unless you run Psyduck and Battle Coliseum. And Grimmsnarl and Gardevoir can use math to screw you over. Okay, I guess that's why Gengar is in 10th and not 1st. I should also mention that Mega Gengar has an attack. 230 damage for 2 darkness isn't bad, allowing you to one-shot every basic 2 prizer when you factor in Monkey Math. Plus you get to preserve 1 of those energy. Add in Petulant EX and Binding Mochi and Gengar doesn't have to sit on the bench and look pretty with its glory hole forehead. And those were my top 10 best cards coming in Phantasmal Flames. Considering that there's just 94 total cards in the set, I'm surprised I was able to fill up the list. I mean, I struggled mightily to do it with Black Bolt and White Flare, yet that had like twice the cards. As a reminder, these are the main cards that will be available 3 weeks ahead of Phantasmal Flames on October 23rd inside the Mega Gengar and Mega Diancie Mega Battle decks. Those decks are the reason why I'm having to do all my preview videos much earlier than normal, because 20% of the set is out on Thursday. I'll include a link in the description to all my Phantasmal Flames coverage in case you're bi-curious about the Mega decks. Until then, what are your top cards coming in the next set? Debate with strangers about ink printed on cardboard in the comments below.